You're watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
Welcome back to Byline Wilmington. I'm Rhonda Bellamy, substituting for Don Ansell and continuing our discussion with William Woody Hall, senior economist in the Swain Center for Business and Economic Services in the Cameron School of Business at UNCW. We've been talking about the economy, looking at the national and local economies, and we want to shift our focus to the local economy for a moment. We've talked about unemployment numbers and the fact that we've ticked upward with more local numbers coming out soon. But let's take a look at some of the other indicators that you look at.
We look at personal income growth, changes in personal income. Personal income is defined as the sum of all types of income received by individuals. Work for somebody, wages and salaries, own property, rental income, own financial investments, you got dividend and interest income. And you got a bunch of people who work for themselves, self-employed. And if you look at what has happened to total personal income, let's say since 2000, over the current decade, we saw some dramatic growth in 2004, 2005, but there's been a steady decline to date since 2005. In fact, in that time-year span, unlike previous decades, there's one year in which income didn't grow at all in southeastern North Carolina. In fact, declined 0.4%. We anticipate somewhat of a rebound in 2012, 2013, maybe on the order of 3.5%. But the key there is that if history repeats itself, and it's a pretty dangerous assumption in light of what we've been through, the economy's got to grow 3% per year to keep the unemployment rate stable. And I'm talking about growth of 3.5%, but I'm not adjusting for inflation. So I think the best we can probably hope for is that the unemployment rate will not get any worse over the next 6 months, will not get any worse over the next year. We're not really looking for, or at least the numbers are not telling us, any sort of appreciable reduction in the unemployment rate until we get back to growth maybe in excess of 4%. And that's entirely possible.
And where's this growth going to come from?
It's a lot of structural changes in the local economy. Construction, real estate development, at least for the foreseeable future, will not play the role or not play as important a role as it has in the past. Pharmaceuticals are poised for additional growth. We've heard a lot about pharmaceuticals in recent days because of some possible financial transactions that are taking place. We've also got financial services that are coming back. We've got, if you will, health care coming back. And even though I've heard from a recent Byline Wilmington that New Hanover County Public Schools took some pretty big hits in light of state budget issues, I think the cuts that have occurred in education have probably maxed out, and I suspect that over the next 2 to 3 years we'll see a resurgence there. But we're seeing some fairly dramatic, and I've been at UNCW for a long time.
Since 1974, I understand, coming up on 40 years.
And there's been some dramatic changes in the structure of the local economy. And it's just going to take some time for those things to work themselves out.
What type of rebounding in financial services?
Well, financial services do more than just finance real estate purchases. I think it's a function of the number of retirees that have located here. By the way, that migration has slowed to some extent because what we find is that retirees who want to buy a residence here have got to sell a residence somewhere else. A lot of this is conditioned upon more stability in residential real estate market nationwide and perhaps some growth in it. But we got, providing an array of products to a growing segment of the population. Those people who have selected to take early retirement, those people who have come here, they had a second home here, they come here for a permanent residence.
Again, if you're just tuning in to Byline Wilmington, we're talking with Dr. Woody Hall, senior economist at UNCW, getting a snapshot of the local economy. Let's talk for just a minute. We talked about pharmaceuticals and the part that they play or may play in the local economy, but UNCW has also announced plans for the Marine Biotechnology Center.
Well, I think it may, personally speaking, because I can't speak for the university, but I think it makes eminently good sense. We are the institution in the great University of North Carolina that is located close proximity to the Atlantic Ocean. And we have a marine science program that is world-renowned. And I would think that that's our flagship, if you will, that we will continue, that we should trade on, and hopefully will trade on. And this research facility that's being proposed will simply support a lot of stuff that's already going on. In fact, the only patent, I guess maybe we have 2 patents now, that UNCW has been instrumental in getting has come out of the marine science work.
Let's talk for just a minute about what percentage of the economy higher education plays here.
We're getting ready to estimate, hopefully in the not too distant future, how important the University of North Carolina at Wilmington is in the local economy. We've done that at junctures in the past. I guess the last time we made an official estimate of it was 10 years ago, and we did one 10 years prior to that. First of all, we got to define our service area. And you know, or you may not know, we have a satellite operation in Jacksonville, Onslow County at Coastal Carolina Community College. We probably will have some satellite operations in Brunswick County and maybe even going more northwest. But at one point in time, 10 years ago, University of North Carolina was a fairly important component of the local economy, supporting maybe as much as 8 or 9% of total economic activity in perhaps a 9-10 county region. We do believe, and this is anecdotal evidence only, that the importance of the university in the economy has not grown as rapidly as has the local economy up until 2008, because everything fell apart for all intents and purposes in 2009. But we still think we're a major player. The point of doing this is to come out with some sort of objective, reasonable estimate that suggests that, you know, the university is more than just a source or a place to get an education, a place to get a higher education degree. It's more than just an arena for the presentation of certain cultural events. We're also a fairly large player in the economy. I mean, we've got close to, if you look at faculty and staff combined, we're probably close to 1,700 people.
In 30 seconds, a prognosis for the local economy.
Things will get better. The problem is that unlike previous recoveries, in which we have typically led the recovery, come out faster than the state or nation, by the same token, we tend to go in slower than the state or nation. This time we're coming out, at least in 2011, 2012, not as rapidly as the state, and the state's not coming out as rapidly as the nation.
And you heard it from Dr. Woody Hall, senior economist at UNCW. That does it for this edition of Byline Wilmington. I'm Rhonda Bellamy, substituting for Don Ansell. Have a great day.
You've been watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Join us every Sunday morning as we explore the issues that concern you.